So now I'm going to ask the recently joined panelists to just briefly introduce themselves, just because I wouldn't know how. And then I'm going to talk about this session's theme, and I'm hoping that I'll have a lot of input from the audience as well. This is a round table, sort of weird round table, but it's meant for you to interact with us and ask questions as well, and explain your ideas about this subject. So I strongly ask of you that to, participate. It's very important for us to hear your opinion. Paulo, would you?
Yeah? Not me first, because
okay. Sure.
Good morning. My name is Luis Graça, and I'm not an artist. I've not been involved in art directly, but I have been following with a lot of interest the field of art and biology, having being fortunate enough to meet many of the major artists that are exploring the field of art and biology, many different curators that have different approaches to exhibiting art and biology. And from my perspective of being a research scientist and not an artist, it has always been very interesting to follow how there is so many different approaches to art and biology, and how many different options that artists take and curators take to showing things that are related to biology. I had never worked directly with an artist, although I've been very exposed to Marta's artistic production because I'm married to Marta. But recently, within this Ectopia network of research laboratories that are interested in science, I have received in my laboratory a resident artist that is interested in exploring how the immune system interacts with what is foreign. So I run an immunology laboratory at the University of Lisbon in a new institute that is called Instituto de Medicina Molecular in Lisbon. And we are interested in understanding how the immune system reacts against what is foreign to the body, like transplants, allergens, and so on, while being harmless to the self-constituents of the body. So it is able to discriminate what is self from what is non-self. The immune system is able to learn what is self and to tolerate something that is non-self. And it has been a very interesting experience to work with an artist that is interested in exploring this relationship between self and foreign, and responsiveness to what is foreign, aggressiveness to what is foreign, or tolerance.
I have a very strange curriculum. I'm a medical doctor. I did research in biochemistry, and I have a master's degree in that area. Right now I'm a professor in the University of Porto, professor of anatomy and professor of contemporary thought. I was, I'm also a curator. I was a programmer of Porto 2001 in the areas of thought, science, literature, and interdisciplinary projects. And I was also the former director of the Institute of Arts in Portugal. So I'm in between science and science and arts too. I think we can talk later about that.
Of course. So now you know a little bit about all members, this panel is meant to think about experiences in exhibiting art and science. I think we're rich here in that, and with the presentations that you've seen this morning, you see we have experts in this field here. I'm sure lots of people in the audience have their own ideas about exhibiting art with technology and with science or with biology. And I would like to firstly ask the panelists to try and explain through their own experience what are their what's their approach, as Luis said, what's their approach and their interests in exploring this field of biology and art, and how science and art in general can be exhibited in an art context, you know, in an artistic context. So who would like to go first? That way, this, or?
I can make a very brief statement. In the first place, being married with a doctor helps.
Mm-hmm.
Being married with a scientist helps.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so that is one first recommendation. Well, the other two recommendations are related to an experience I had and I have with artists and museums. And what I call the troubleshooting manual and the instructions manual. I think I developed the idea that post-contemporary art museums or contemporary art museums in the metamorphosis towards post-contemporary art museums, whenever they show cognitive arts, techno arts, they have to work out with the artists the production and editing of instructions manuals for each piece and troubleshooting. The manual should have technical explanations of the art piece and troubleshooting. This is a very simple idea, but if you don't do it, you always have problems. And most of the exhibitions have problems, probably because they don't think about this very little detail. That demands two things. You have to talk to the artist and ask the artist to do it in the first place, because he didn't do it ever, most of the time. He don't even think about it. He thinks that he can always be there if something happens, or he can call the technician for a specific part of the installation that could come. But then the artist is not there, and the technician cannot come, and the installation stops. And that happens everywhere, as you all know. So, basic idea is that for post-contemporary or art and science projects, you have to develop for each artwork a manual, like if it was, any sophisticated computer, you have a manual. You need a manual for post-contemporary art. So that's the one contribution.